All right, we're back here for another match in round number two here on Monday at Guardian Games. And it looks like we have a battle of the Bants. Bant Spirits versus Bant Snow Control here. Spirits is up a game, and should be an interesting matchup. This Snow Control deck, usually Bant was, or traditionally I should say, Bant's been a pretty weak color combination for control strategies in Modern, but the printing of Ice Fang Quaddle and the Snowlands plus Astrolabe and Teferi has really upped the power level and the versatility of this deck to have a flash Death Touch threat that draws you a card, really strong. Teferi, obviously, super powerful card.
Right. Let's print some 3-mana walkers. Let's give him Teferi. Let's give him Oko.
Yeah,
Let's
Oko is
give him Astrolabe.
I think Oko is really what pushed the deck into being potentially a tier 1 deck.
So I mean, if nothing else, Oko's given Simic some play that it didn't have for a while. So I guess nice to see that.
Yeah, Vile Flick Wisp. I try my best. When Urchin can't make it in the booth, someone has to keep the puns rolling.
And mine are terrible. So Calvin with a decent board presence here. And a Rattle Chains on the battlefield going to make Jay think twice about any sort of interaction. Jail fetch to 17. So we see a flashed in Ice Fang Quaddle. This is actually one of my favorite cards, and truly I think a very good inclusion from Modern Horizons. There's a number of cards that are maybe seeming a little questionable out of Modern Horizons, but
I do think it is. I agree with you in spirit, but in practicality, I almost disagree. Um, I think it's hilarious how they were trying to print a like quote unquote fixed version of the oh man, the name's escaping me.
Baleful
Baleful
Strix.
Strix. So that could port over to modern because Baleful Strix is like, oh, too good. And then they ended up printing Icefang Quaddle, and then Arkham's Astrolabe in the same set, and you see decks dropping Baleful Strix and Legacy to play the Quaddle because of the flash ability, where it's like actually the better version of the card.
Yeah, yeah. Hard to say in a vacuum if that would have been the case. Honestly, I think Ren and Six is maybe the bigger reason for that, in that the Quaddle can get value by being flashed in as a blocker and can get around Ren and Six, where the Baleful Strix would not be able to do that.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I mean, I think it's that was in a set that added a lot of other tools like Astrolabe and Rin and Six that is now the better card.
Sure. Man, nothing like Spell Queller grabbing a Supreme Verdict, huh?
Yeah, it's got to feel great, especially when you have your Drog School Captain out. That's a dream for spirits.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're on Jay's side, okay, Jay kind of frustratingly going after the Drog School Captain. I believe Calvin's looking at a negate in hand.
I think we have maybe also saw a Force of Negation,
Jeez.
or is that just
So
a
there's our
negate?
negate. It's pretty tough if you're Jay. I mean, the Spell Queller hitting the Verdict was maybe the game here.
I mean, it is quite a bit of setup, but once you have Drog School Captain out and you're able to start spell quelling things, that's just real hard to interact with in any sort of profitable way.
Well, an honorary spirit Thalia also, preventing Jay from double spelling on the turn where they tried to cast the Supreme Verdict. as uh, if the mana's not so kind of constrained, it's possible that Jay actually finds a way out of this. But
Yeah, we did also have the force of negation there too.
this just feels like the dream scenario if you're on Calvin's side.
Which I would say that control decks usually are weak to kind of aggro tempo strategies,
Yep.
and so we're seeing that play out right now.
Spirits being like honestly a fantastic option too against these control strategies.
And Calvin just with the safe attack there with the first striking 2-1, not wanting to throw any relevant creature into a Ice Fang Quaddle.
I'm honestly a little bit surprised that Jay tendered a block there. I think I would have just taken the damage um, in this situation. So we're going to see Force of Negation on the path to exile.
And Jay can't even force a negation back because of that Thalia.
Nope.
Wah wah. Oh boy.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So I mean, Jay's got a
I think was that 3 pass that we
yeah, but
tried.
so Snap Path actually gets Jay out of this mess. And I may be just firing that off straight away if I'm Jay.
Is there a Snapcaster in Jay's hand?
I don't know, but that's the out that I think we're looking at here. So if you're on Calvin's side, do you just swing with the 4/3 Thalia? I guess that's what we're doing. Okay, so there's
Ooh.
the snap.
Calvin's like, oh, you're going to snap past my spell queller? And
So
Jay says it's a plan.
verdict. So verdict can't be cast because of the Thalia attacks, right? So, I mean, success in that we get that spell queller off the field, but
Yeah, I sort of like waiting till the next
yeah,
turn to do that, especially
I
if they're just
agree.
attack with
Yeah,
the Thalia.
yeah, that was I didn't actually see that either. I don't think Jay did. That the Thalia attacks would also be applied to the Supreme Verdict. Sometimes it feels like with Spell Queller that the spell's kind of like already on the stack when the Spell Queller dies, but that is not in fact the case. You're given the option to cast the spell again.
That being said, Jay does have a lot of cards in hand, and we get a timely reinforcements.
Yep, so even though you are allowed to, quote, cast the card without paying its mana cost, tax effects like Thalia are applied kind of at the end of this, so they would be applied after you attempt to cast it without paying its mana cost, and so it would still cost 1.
So we're going to probably run into some clock issues here if Jay's able to win this game. Supreme Phantom and Mausoleum Wanderer.
Why do you think we didn't get in with the Thalia there? Don't we get 2 noble triggers?
2 noble triggers and you have first strike.
Yeah.
Oh, there's going to be some elks. What do you think's going to get turned
And
into an elk?
that should be a 4 mana Oko. Let's just make sure we pay the tax here. There we go. Paying the tax there. I wouldn't actually even mind turning a spirit into an elk.
Yeah, let's turn the Supreme Phantom into an elk. No, we're turning the Thalia into an elk.
Oh, I actually was thinking, or I guess what does whatever timely reinforcements makes a soldier turning one of those into an elk is not something that I would have necessarily disagreed with.
I said Oko goes to 6, right?
Oko should go to 5 if we're turning something into an elk.
Oh, right, right. And it would gets +2 to make a food, so it goes to 6
Correct.
if you make a food. So it is friable right now,
Yes.
which is really not on flavor, because if you make a food, I think you should be friable, because you can deep fry the food thing that you.
You
I don't
should
know.
just be able to fry anything that's living. That should be the stipulation. Non-zombie, planeswalker, or creature. Calvin kind of debating here. Looks like we're going to serve with the Mausoleum Wanderer. It's going to be 4 in the air. It's pretty solid, and it looks like we are going straight for Jay's life total, and we're just going to leave that Oko on the table. So we're going to see. I've played this game with Oko before where I tried to ignore it. You know what's happened every time?
You lose.
Yeah, I have. I
Yep.
think maybe if my opponent wasn't drawing any cards, maybe I would win. But unfortunately, like your opponent's oftentimes drawing cards also. Because you know what pretty much negates the attack that Calvin just went for?
A food.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I've been in that learning situation too, and you kind of just throw everything at Oko.
which feels pretty bad. Now Urchin is not here today. Not not exactly
Yeah,
sure.
I got a text on the app about
Oh, okay.
Urcha not being able to make it in tonight, so you're stuck with um, what
Travis and
either
Travis too.
if you actually believe there is an Ian, you're stuck with Travis and Ian, or if you think that I slightly changed my voice, you're stuck with me playing two commentators.
It's probably just 2 Travises. So,
Exalted triggers are on the stack.
all right, we see snap, and we can now path without paying the tax as that Dahlia is an elk. An elk don't collect taxes, Travis.
That's a bit of a stretch, but it's something.
So I
If you farmed elk, though, you'd have to pay taxes on that.
true. So if you're Calvin here, and there's actually our clock is even incorrect. There's in fact 35 seconds left in round. So I
So they're
guess
going to get an extra minute and a half with this.
okay. So let's do one. Okay, so this will be our actual time here. So I wonder if you're Calvin, if you're actually just trying to. I mean, you're not going to win another game, so you're just going to try not to die here and hope that you can get this series 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's a strategy right now.
Yeah.
And
If
that is
you,
something to recognize when you're playing competitive Magic is if you've won the first game and you are going to go to time for your second game, you don't slow play because that's cheating, but maybe play not to lose instead of trying to play to win.
yeah, Calvin's actually probably sad about this time extension. Really hoping to just get this one over with. And if you're Jay, you're just elking like a mad person. You're just gonna elk all your permanents, and you're gonna get in there. Just elk some food, elk some soldiers, elk that snapcaster.
Start with the soldiers. Start with the soldiers. I don't think we're gonna have enough turns to elk the Snapcaster.
Probably not. And in fact, Jay does play Arkham's Astrolabe. Oh no, it wasn't his deck that we were debating that for, huh?
No, we just had so many games.
Yeah. What a prolific round. Jace. Okay, another win condition.
Not an elk though.
No, I wonder if we're just bouncing. Do we just bounce some stuff from Jace here? I mean, I really think we're not. I think we got to get beyond brainstorming, and we just need to get damage in if we're on Jay's side. The life totals are close. Jay has a much higher board or bigger board presence.
I think you elk the flyers if you're gonna try to win with Jace ultimate.
You think you'd still elk the opponent's creatures here, even though the only flyer is Supreme Phantom?
Well, I think it depends how I was trying to win. If I was gonna win with a Jace ultimate, yeah, you elk the
Oh
flyer.
yeah, yeah,
But if I'm trying to win by attacking, elking your own creatures is good.
yeah. I feel like we can just Jay's board presence on the ground is big enough that I'd like to just see us go for a win on the ground by attacking. Although I guess a win in this case is still an overall match draw, but so I believe we should be in turns at this
I think
point.
we're gonna let there's a judge out there
Okay.
that'll put them in turns.
Looks like Unsettled Mariner will join the fray.
All right, so we're on turn 0. And Calvin's still interested in attacking.
Calvin's got to try and win too. Oh no, Calvin doesn't have to try and win.
Calvin just
I
has to not
forgot. Yep,
lose.
we just have to draw here. Honorary Spirit, Unsettled Mariner.
And not even honorary, that's actually literal spirit.
I know, but it's kind of. I think it's honorary.
It's like when you're playing a pickup game of basketball and you have 5 people, and you have someone that's always playing defense. It's like the third, just whatever.
Ooh, Rulox with an interesting question. I believe that is correct that you could target a land with liquid metal coating and then make it an elk with Oko. I believe that's true because I think Oko's ability only stipulates artifact or creature and does not stipulate non-land. In fact, I'm sure because in Pioneer I've had Nissa lands go from lands with 3/1/1 counters to elk with 3/1/1 counters and become 6/6s against me. So.
Ooh. So maybe Jay's digging for a cryptic here to hopefully do some like tap your team swing shenanigans. Oh, he plus with the fairy.
This is all very interesting.
What?
Calvin might get out of this with a W.
I think if Jay has a cryptic here and
So we should
so
be.
it's funny, but I actually don't like throwing in a creature if you don't have another one in hand to put in because you really want to save something for blocking. And I've also the playing to. Whoa.
Okay. Uh.
Wow. That's an enormous path to exile.
Yep. This card also has sweet art.
And that was a foil. That's pretty cool.
Let's take a look at Winds of Abandon.
Now I get why you plus Jace.
Yeah. But I still feel like we should just be elking everything and getting in as much damage as we can. Because we are at, I believe we're all the way up. Is this turn 4?
Oh, we're at turn 3 right now, I think.
Okay. So Jay will get another turn after this. And I think this is gonna.
Are we in turn 4? I'm curious. I can't quite see the dice that's on the table.
So this is 4. So Jay will get a chance to close out this game next turn.
Yeah. So a lot of 3/3s.
Yep, and Jay's gonna manage to claim the draw with a big Winds of Abandon. Thought maybe the Supreme Verdict getting exiled due to the Thalia was gonna help Calvin get there, but Jay just kind of barely able to squeak it out there on turn 5.